blow pipe has to be hot in order for the glass to stick. So basically, I had it sitting in there for the last 5 minutes, just basically heating up to hot temperature. So we'll start with an orange mug today. Get a little fall-like here. So these colors here are all basic glass, but there's different rare earth minerals added to it. So what I do is as I roll into it, the glass just sticks right onto the outside. Almost there? So what I'm going to do is add a second layer, so I've got a nice heavy coating of the orange. But this color is very, very dense, very intense, so you don't need a lot of it. If you use too little, it'll just wash away. It almost looks like just some of a little tint. So what I'm going to do here is basically melt it in, and we've got a nice, even surface. So what I'm going to do here, the first step is put a bubble into the glass so I can drop it into one of these optic molds. And an optic mold is basically a tool that will add sort of ridges to the outside of the bubble itself. We've got a nice heavy heat here. So I'm going to shape it up on the steel table that we call the Marver table. I'm going to smooth the tip nice and even. Now when you put the bubble in, you have to have a perfect exterior shape. So you want to have a nice, even sort of like the bottom of an acorn shape. So we'll let it shorten up. I'm going to put a small puff of air in, blow hard, and cap the back end of the pipe. But because the pipe's so hot, when I put air in, the air starts to expand and pushes right into there. So it actually blew all the way through there.
So you doing a mug?
Yep. It's kind of similar to the last one. So what I'm going to do, I've got a sort of a round bubble shape here. Lucy, you want to grab the little optic mold? It's a little straight guy. Careful, it might be warm. I want to show everybody. So this is the mold that I'm going to blow into. It's a small, narrow cylinder. And what I'm going to do is actually get straight ridges in there. But how I'm going to use this is that I'm going to twist the ridges to create an interesting color pattern of a spiral going through the whole piece. See that? That was glass unannealed right there. If you don't put it into the kilns when we're done, it's pretty darn dangerous. Alright, so I'm going to get this nice and hot here, and drop it into the mold, and we're good to roll. Alright, so I'm going to drop it in, blow hard, and you'll see it takes perfect shape of those 20 ribs on the mold. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down in the bench and I'm going to twist these up. And then I'm going to drop it back into the mold and create sort of like a zigzag pattern. So I'm going to spiral it and then put ridges in it again and then smooth it back out. Listen, I'm going to jump in the wood.
What color should you go with?
This is a bright orange.
Alright, so what's going to happen is as he's making this piece, you're going to notice the colors changing throughout the whole piece. So when he first took that first gather of clear out, it was clear glass, but it was bright orange. That's because you were seeing the color of the temperature. So each different color that we add onto the piece reacts to the temperature differently as well. So some of the blues we have like to stay nice and blue.
I twisted that all up.
Some of the reds like to go a little bit brown, and oranges specifically look really brown while we're making it. So keep in mind that it's going to be a bright orange once it cools down to room temperature.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop back into that mold again. So I spiraled them, and now I'm going to break them again by going back in with the straight lines and almost creating an X-type pattern. And we'll see if it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we got it nice and hot here. The hotter I am, the better the mold response I will get. So I'm going to drop hard, blow hard, and you can see how it almost crossed over that pattern. So see that? Alright, so one more time. What I'm going to do, since I spiraled it so tight, I'm actually going to unspiral it now and smooth it out, and then add a layer of color over top. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's going to be pretty darn cool.
And if we were doing a color pattern so unique like this in the middle, we would just take a clear gather, let it cool down, and then you double up your color and have a full size to work with. This is kind of like a little extra bonus action for the color. You can see these guys working together here. Lucy's blowing the pipe and Drew is kind of telling that air where to go in the piece. You can't blow glass on your own. You have to have 2 people at least, and a lot of times 3 people. You'll see me jump into the rotation helping out eventually. It makes everything run a lot smoother. It's kind of almost impossible to blow glass on your own. That's partly where the cost of glass blowing comes from too. Because you can imagine furnace running all the time, the material itself, but then if I want to go home and I want to make a set of 10 cups on my own work, and I have to hire somebody to work with me, and I'm paying them $20 an hour to be my assistant.
Alrighty. So now my goal here is to smooth out all the ridges. Now the color pattern remains, but the ridges are starting to go away. You can actually start to, it's hard to see because it's on such a small scale. But when I blow this up here, in about 3 minutes, you'll actually see the pattern start to stretch out. We'll get a cool sort of zigzag pattern going through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So what I need to do next is add more glass to the surface. This isn't really quite big enough to make anything functional. So what I'm going to do here is smooth it out one more time, let it cool down for a minute, and then I'm going to go right back into that glass and add more clear glass to this. Alright. So give it a puff just to reinforce it. You guys might be able to see part of that pattern. It's kind of interesting. Can't put it out too far, it's a little bit warm for that. Basically, we were just molten, what, 15 seconds ago? I was shaping it. So right now, you can see how hard that material has cooled down. So if I go in while I'm still moving, the integrity of this bubble will completely collapse and it's game over. You gotta start over again. So we'll add one more layer and away we go.
Yeah. Door probably.
Yeah, we can probably pull that. Alright, so you can see I added a secondary layer of clear glass over the top. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of hang tight for a second, let that secondary layer reheat the interior layer. Remember how it was as hard as a rock there? Basically what I'm doing now is just letting it warm back up. So I'm going to head back in, get a little more heat, come out, I'll shape it up and start to blow this piece up.
So the thing about making a mug too is that you actually make it upside down. So he's working on the end of the pipe, my hand is the pipe, this is the shape of the mug on there. So he's going to be shaping up this body, then the next step would be putting a foot on there, and then we'll have to flip it around, and we'll explain, and you'll see that when it happens. I want to try and explain it before we get there, 'cause it's pretty crazy.
Alright, so we've got a little bit of extra heat here. I'm going to give it a nice puff of air. Now we'll really see it starting to expand. You can start to see that pattern as well. So I'm just going to cool the tip down a little and get ready for the next shaping. Woo. Alright, there we go. Alright, Jake.
Yep.
Alright, so I'm going to get a little more length. I'm going to go for a tall guy here. So I'm just going to let this thing start to stretch out a bit. Got a lot of weight at the bottom, so it's pulling for me. Woo. Alright, there we go. Now we got something going. Okay, so I'm going to have Jake blow. Blow, please. So I turn nice and smooth. Stop, Jake.
Right now he's putting the connection lines, it's called the neck line right there. And that's eventually, we're going to have to take this pipe or this piece off of the blowpipe, and that's right where it's going to break off. If that line isn't nice and clean, then you're going to have a fractured break, and it's not going to be a clean lip to the mug.
You guys start to see that pattern now that was created?
Nice.
So it didn't really look like I did very much, but truly I was actually working towards exactly that. Some nice, smooth, even cut line. So I'm just going to heat the bottom a third, or 2/3, stretch another 1/2 inch out of this, maybe narrow it and a little more taper, and then we'll put the foot onto it.
Anybody got any questions about glass blowing out there? Just being blown away? How long have we been doing it? Drew's been blowing glass for 25 years, 22 years. I've been blowing glass, my parents blow glass, so it's been a while.
A little, please. No art. Stop. I'm a little too rough here.
Put a foot on it or just flat?
I think we're gonna put a foot on it.
So we're going to shape up the bottom a little bit more in order to get the right shape to bring a foot onto this piece. So the foot's going to be a separate application where I bring over a solid ball of glass with a certain color that he's going to tell me what it is. And we'll bring it over and we'll drop it right on top of the piece. So he's going to be holding it like this and he's going to take it, cut it right on top of the piece so it's a nice even round patty. And that's a pretty difficult move, and if we don't have the bottom shaped up to catch that patty just right, then it's not going to go on symmetrical. So Drew's actually using the tube. That would be our third assistant if we had one on here. So he can blow into the end of the pipe and I can flatten the bottom at the same time.
Alright, nice. So what I did is I blowing through the pipe while he was flattening it, we were actually pushing the edge of that bottom, or the bottom edge of that cup out so that we could actually have a nice sharp angle. Glass doesn't like to be angled hard. You have to force it really hard. So while he was here, I was here, we let it form into the corner there.
What kind of color are we going with?
I would go definitely another gather. I'd go pumpkin maybe?
Pumpkin?
Yeah.
Alright. Which orange do you have in your base?
The 144. So this thing's pretty thin. Now it's hard to deal with because we're working outside. The light, the sunlight's affecting everything we do because I don't know how hot that is. Yeah, maybe just a bit. I can't tell how hot it is because it's not glowing as strongly as it would if I was indoors in a controlled situation. So it's kind of a tricky animal here to deal with. But I know just through my basic timing as to where I am heat-wise. But I'm just merely playing a guessing game. If it gets too cold up here, the glass will actually crack and fracture, and it's game over. So Jake's gonna make the foot. The foot is gonna be the weight of the cup. When you put a big handle on it, you don't want the cup to just fall over from the weight of the handle. You want it to be nice and stable. So that's kind of what we're trying to achieve here. It requires quite a bit more material, but the look is actually quite remarkable. It'll be a nice, even bottom. So what we're going to do, the real difficult part about a foot is he's going to bring it from above. I have to try to place it in the dead center so it's not shifted off. I can see this direction even-wise, but I cannot see the depth direction. You know, I can't make my head see from the side, so it's really, really tricky.
This one?
I need to get a quick flash. So basically, I'm just going to use experience that we've made enough of these that I can actually get it pretty close to the middle. That's the goal. Alright. So Jake's shaping again. So what I'm going to do is get prepared. I've got my final heat before I take this. I'm going to put the pipe straight up and down, and Jake's going to come over. He's going to present it from the side, basically perpendicular. So you can see the cup here. You see the pattern that we have. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go right on. I've got to see that exact center point. This is where it's tricky because Jake is moving. I am moving. All right. Boom. So pretty good. Not too shabby. So what I'm going to do here is flatten this out. Make sure I'm even. So I'm going to take a heat. See that nice thick base we've got now? Almost can make a pitcher out of this or a vase. It's almost too thick and too heavy for drinking vessel, but I think it's kind of cool having that way.
nice action. You can really slam it on the table real nice.
That's right.
Another paddle, or you think you got it?
What's that?
Another paddle?
I think I'm okay. So I'm just gonna smooth that out nice and even. Just gonna push this up a little bit, so now we're sitting on a ring, it won't wobble on the table. What I need to do is let this foot start to cool. Jake's gonna make what's called a punting. It's a separate rod that will actually connect to the bottom of this piece. What that rod's gonna do is it's gonna take it off of my pipe, and we're gonna have an opening right here to open up the actual drinking vessel. So every piece of hand-blown glass has to go through the punting process. And that's basically where we're gonna flip it 180 degrees. Makes a lot more sense when you actually see it versus hear it.
This is where I would say about 90% of pieces hit the ground if they're gonna hit the ground. And whether that means we do it right here and it doesn't connect right and it falls on the floor during that process, or that means we could put this on and connect it and it doesn't stay strong enough of a connection and we lose a piece right onto the floor, which just happened to me the demo before this. So there's really a lot riding on the temperatures of my bit that I'm bringing over and the temperature of his base, the foot on this mug.
Cool.
I'm getting just a little bit of glass. We want a connection that's about the size of like a dime, because you get any bigger than that and then you're connecting it a little too well, and then we go to try and knock the piece off when we're all finished with it and we're hitting the pipe really hard, and then maybe like the thumb bit pops off of the handle, or the handle just pops off, or something crazy. So we don't want it too big, we don't want it too hot, we don't want it too cold, pretty much just want it just right. So there's the shape.
So I'm still over here cooling down the foot.
You want on this one?
Sure. Put a little extra heat up on that front end. Jake's gonna bring that bit over. So now I've got to find the exact center spot here. Right about there.
Once we get it lined up here, and Drew thinks that the temperature's right, if he thinks it's hot, he'll blow a little air on that connection, just like this. And we're going to put a little bit of water, a little bit of cold metal on that connection that he put at the very beginning. And if we're all lined up, it's hopefully going to pop off right where we want it.
So real simple. Let's see here.
Come on, baby.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah, give him a round of applause, guys. Woo. We can only try and talk that up as being dangerous as much as we can talk it up. There's no way to show you how dangerous it is unless we actually break the piece, which, like I said, I think it was 2 demos ago it happened, and it was no fun.
That was pretty thick.
Well, it looks pretty good, I think, once you open it up. And there's a little thickness. Well, that's about the halfway point of the process. So once we get that off, that's a good sign that we're headed in the right direction. Now it's all about keeping that heat in that bit that I brought over, the punty. Because if we let that get too cold, that's when you're going to lose it off the pipe. Okay. This is usually the longest reheat of the whole process because we just had the glass cold enough that we could break it right off of the pipe. And now we want to bring that back up to temperature so that it's molten enough that we can open up the glass. Well, I'll take the time to remind you guys that we are a Pittsburgh-based company, and Drew and I and his wife make every single product that's in the shop here, and we're right down the south side. So if you guys are interested in local work, nothing's from China, check out everything in here and let us know how you like it. We don't do a lot of mugs in there. You won't see, I think this is actually the only mug that we have for sale and on display right now, because it's kind of more of a show pleaser for us. So we like pumpkins. Pumpkins are our go-to, and we got that down what we think is a pretty pristine pumpkin. Mugs are a really fun thing to make, and it's really exciting for people to see a whole mug process go down as well, rather than just a quick pumpkin where we put the lines in, put the stem on. Well, here's doing a pluck and trim, but what he told me was that his lip was just a little bit thick up top. And what happens when you have a really thick lip on a glass, you start drinking and then you start dribbling all over yourself. So we're not interested in any of that when we're making mug. So he pulled it out, made it nice and thin, and trimmed it so that you can get a nice, good, solid pour of whatever liquid you're drinking out of this bad boy. So now he's got a nice thin lip. We're going to do the same move that we did with that bottom, with the foot and the bottom of the glass, where he's going to go on the outside, or actually he'll go on the inside here, and start to open that up from the inside, and I'll use the paddle to put a 90-degree angle right on there so that it's a nice, clean, even lip as it opens up. Something you couldn't do if you didn't have an assistant.
Very difficult.
So that's pretty awesome too that he just opened that up in one heat. Orange, first of all, is a very stiff color. Second of all, the way that you can't really you can't do that in one heat. A lot of times that glass cools down super quick, especially when you put the metal tool on there, it's pulling heat out and you can't quite get it finished. What color?
I don't know, let's just do the 44. You're right.
Alright. So, here goes the blown handle. This is a pretty crazy move where it's not a solid handle. We're not just going to put a stick on the side of the mug. We're going to put a hollow handle. And if you can believe it, hollow handles are actually stronger than our solid handles. The reason for that is because you can imagine a fracture trying to go through that blown handle. Instead of a solid handle where it would go straight through the middle and connect the other side and break the handle in half, that fracture actually has to go all the way around that bubble and connect on the other side. So it reinforces it to be a much stronger handle. Here's a puff of air. Got a pretty nice big one for you. Got a nice big one for you.
Cool. So Jake and I are trying to coordinate our timing now. I'm trying to work around his schedule versus what he's usually doing, working around my schedule.
We're gonna do this one.
I want to take a quick bite. So I've got to get my heat perfectly set. This is probably the most traumatic thing you can do to the object. It beats it up pretty well. Sucks a lot of heat out. This is usually where you're going to make it or lose it. So all that work, we can totally trash it if it doesn't go down absolutely perfect.
This is right where I lost my piece a couple demos ago, putting the handle on. It was rough.
Alright.
Ready for me?
Yep. Alright, so Jake brought a nice big fat handle there. We'll cover it up. We're going to cut.
Woo-hoo!
There we go.
Let's give him a round of applause, you guys. You made that look pretty easy, but that's a very difficult move. That glass is really hot and moving, and he caught it when he flung it over. That's where 50% of my handles will just hit right on the side of the piece and be some kind of like snake-looking thing on the side. It's no good.
I gotta say, I learned that from Jake, though. He's our handle guy.
It's looking good, folks. You gonna do your runners?
Yeah, I want to
Make
try
it
to
nice and even pulling bit. You want to do a runner, that's a pinch bit.
Right. Man, I can't get that sucker centered up. Let me just center this real quick. And we'll be good to roll.
So I'll remind you guys that that color is a bright orange. So it's looking really brown right now, like I was explaining earlier. All the colors react differently to the heat. So keep in mind it's going to be bright orange. And that this piece is for sale too, if you guys are falling in love with it. So we're going to do one more bit on here too.
in there. You see through that? Alright, I'm ready for you.
Alright, so we're going to do one more bit here. Are you doing a runner or are you just doing a thumb bit?
Let's do a thumb bit. Simple.
Something different, maybe gold or something?
Yeah, that would be cool. So you guys see that handle? Perfect for your hand in the morning. A mighty orange juice glass. Probably good iced tea. Big enough to be used as a small base. Kind of funky.
So we're going to put, this is going to be a thumb bit, just like the bit right on the end of that handle right there. We like maximum comfort for the hand and for the thumb around here. You ready on this one?
Sure. Is there a different way to do it than what I did last time?
You can do it like 40 for 90 degrees the other way. That was cool too, or leave it just round.
Oh, I see. That goes sideways.
Yeah.
This one.
Call that the thumb saddle.
Alright. Cool. So there we go. We got the thumb bit. Got the handle.
Well, it's going to take a couple more flashes. You can't just put on a hot bit like that on the handle and then expect that foot, that super solid foot that's been around since pretty much the beginning of the process, to be the same temperature. We can't put it away with different temperatures. So he's going to take maybe one, maybe two, possibly three more flashes, and he'll come out here and show you guys the piece up close, and you guys can check it out and get it on the camera. And it's equalizing the temperature so that it's going to be able to be put away. The other thing about putting it away is that we've gotten this far without it falling on the ground like I was talking about. We also could have had stuck too hot on there. So there's still a really dangerous process in this at the very end when we're trying to get it off of the pipe. And that's really the final telltale of if we lined it all up correctly. Alright.
Yeah, the lip cracks. Oh, God.
I'm going to heat up these tongs. He's going to bring it over the bench and put a little bit of water on that connection mark.
So it looks like a nasty brown, but it will be super bright orange like that pumpkin sitting on the corner of the table. Alright.
You see how gently you just set that down on the bench there?
Right above where the handle is. Yeah. So Jake's gonna go in with the forks. Boom. Right off there.
There it is.